I'm going to start with the how to stop cold calling and generate sales leads starting right now. So obviously I just said the title of this, but we'll move on. The agenda here, this presentation is roughly 30 to 35 minutes. It's like drinking from a fire hose. There's a lot of stuff that I go over here, but hopefully you'll glean some information. The second webinar I'm going to do that's tied into this is going to be a probably roughly 15, 20 minutes. So you got about an hour here with me if you can bear it. So let's get cranking on this thing. So why doesn't cold calling work? This is one of the first things that anyone who's ever done cold calling, it's like banging your head against a wall. It works sometimes, it doesn't work sometimes. In most cases, it's getting its effectiveness is waning definitely. So one of the things that, as I was building this presentation, I came across a report through LinkedIn, and it was the seven ways salespeople drive revenues with social selling. And one of the slides in there, they're referencing an IBM report that came out where cold calling has only about a 3% success rate, and it's decreasing at 7% a year. So it's decreasing 7% on that 3%. So it's going down and down and down. I found another report online which was quite amazing. It was by Baylor University. It's called "Has Cold Calling Gone Cold?" And what they did was they actually took a look at a few different Keller Williams offices, and that's a real estate firm out of the U.S. And what they did was they gave 6,264 names to people for phone calls. And of that, only 28% answered, or 1,754. 55% did not answer, and 17% of these were non-working numbers. Here's the scary part about this, is that, in fact, they ended up getting only 19 appointments on the total number of calls made. And only, so basically 0.3% on the total and 1% on all the answered calls, that's scary when you think about it, is that you're spending so much time making a bunch of calls and it's not working. So, if you take a look at it, it's I call it kind of like winning the lottery. If you're going to find basically that 0.3 to 3 in 100 who need what you want, then also you have to convince them to meet with you. You have to convince them to buy. They're probably going out to multiple suppliers as well. And one of the things that I look at is, if you flip this around and you're doing cold calling, basically what you're doing is you're wasting about 97 to 99% of your time making cold calls because it's just not effective. And I'll tell you what, I personally, myself, I don't want to be wasting my time doing stuff like that. So I just want everyone to know I've been in your shoes, right? So first thing you get is that fear of rejection. You also get the fear of looking stupid. I mean, if you're sitting in an office, you're making cold calls and people are around you, been there, done that. You feel really kind of, you do feel like you might be potentially, looking stupid in front of your peers. The fear of loss is it's like, I'm not going to get a sale, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to get that. The other thing too is when you pick up the phone, you call someone and, literally you have yourself, you're interrupting someone right in the middle of their day, right? So, when you think about it, when you're calling into somebody, their mind is on one thing and they're working that way. And you're calling in and interrupting their day. Not the greatest way to start out a relationship with somebody. You know what? The other thing too is you can have a massive lack of confidence. It really is. It's draining on you. There's so much more I could go into. I've been there, I've done it. I'm 47 years old. I started my sales career probably around when I was 25. So I've been in it, almost 25 plus or 25 years in sales. And when I started out, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have anything like that. It literally was like smile and dial. It was horrific at best. So what I'm going to do is show you a way to generate sales leads and get prospects who are looking for exactly what it is that you offer and are literally in buy mode at that point in time. At some point in time frame of they're in a buy mode. And so a lot of this is pretty much leveraging online. So I just want to give you some stats up front. I reference these a little bit later on. So when I was doing some digging on the internet, I found some of these stats. So, 60% of people go online to find out about a product or service. My personal belief is I think that's actually much higher. These stats were from about 2, maybe 3 years ago. One of the things that was found was 83% of people need help during that sales process. So, if 71% of these people expect some form of an immediate assistance if they have questions. And if they cannot get that immediate assistance, literally 48% of the people leave your website without ever coming back. So if you've got no means of engaging with people or answering questions or doing anything, then you're going to lose almost half your traffic that goes to your website. And they found you for a reason. They found you because of the fact that you are offering something that they require or need. So just think about those stats. So how do you actually leverage this in your favor? So one of the things I look at is I have a 5-step process that I leverage, and also I've got clients that leverage this as well, and it works for them. So the first thing is, and I'll go into detail on these obviously throughout this presentation, but the first thing is, you need to have a website or at least a landing page. And I'll get into what a landing page is here in a couple of seconds, just to give you an understanding. Next thing you need is some form of an email software or an email marketing software solution and an offer. Once again, I'll get into the details of this stuff so you can understand it a little further. Look at live chat, or potentially adding live chat onto your website to be able to engage with people. Another thing is look at some form of advertising to help bring people to your website or qualified potential sales leads. And last but not least, look at leveraging social media. And I'm going to show you guys some tips and tricks with social media, how you can leverage it to help drive people to take you up on offers, or in this case, even sign up for like webinars and such. And actually, I have a 6th step, which is follow-up. And this isn't so much a step. This is something that should be in your DNA, and it's something that you need to be doing on a consistent basis. If you've got someone that's come through the door, that's like gold. If you got a lead that's come through the door, it's like gold. You need to do follow-up with these people. I've read stats out there, and I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but the vast majority of sales leads that come in the door are never followed up with. That's horrific when you think about it. Step number 1, this is kind of building the foundation. I'm going to assume that you have a website, or you may have access to your company's website, but if you don't, doesn't matter. There's things that you can do to help generate and drive sales leads to your, so that they'll come to you. So one of the things that we look at is a website. So on my website, Sales Tip a Day, which by the way is actually being revamped and launched probably today or tomorrow. It looks awesome. I'm so happy about it. Anyways, long story short is, you can set up pages on your website if you have one, or you can try to do it if your company or your bosses will allow you, or your boss will allow you to do this. If you're in larger companies, it's not as easy to do this, so you may have to do it on your own. But in this case, what I've got here, this is a landing page that I use for a proactive live chat solution that I've created with a gentleman named John Leishman. And this landing page is done through a company called Lead Pages. And there's another one called Unbounce. I'll get to that in a second here in the next slide here. But what this does, it's got a strong headline: stop cold calling, see a proactive live chat on your website, see how to generate up to 10 times more sales leads from qualified prospects that are looking to buy. That picture of that guy there, that's not me. I wish I was that handsome. But anyways, there's a play button there. So when you play it, it gives you an overview of kind of what I'm talking about there. Then if you go down here, you've got like a page that says try live chat. Click here, go there. Yes, I want to try live chat. So that's a strong call to action, trying to get someone to do stuff. And last but not least, on the right-hand side, I've got a live chat widget that pops up that says, hey, is there anything I can help you with? Are you looking for something? Are you trying to find something out? So what happens is I'm leveraging a bunch of different things to try to generate sales leads through this process. And then down at the bottom there where it says, yes, I want to try live chat free for 30 days. When someone clicks on that, what happens is they will go through and end up getting onto my email marketing list, which I'll get into in a sec here. So long story short, what happens is if you have a website, you can create landing pages on it or have forms that people can fill out so that it'll generate sales leads for you. If you don't have a landing page or a website, you can sign up for a service, Lead Pages, leadpages.net. And if anyone's actually wants, I could send you a resource guide that'll help you with this. Um, just email me at chris@salestipaday.com and I'll send it to you. Leadpages.net. You sign up for their service and you can actually create landing pages there. And in fact, like the last one I had here, I created it. They've got all these templates. You just create it. That took me maybe 2-3 minutes to pull together. It's a good service. Probably roughly, I'm going to say a couple $100 a year, but well worth it if you generate a lot of sales leads out of it. The next one that I look at is another one called Unbounce. So if you go to unbounce.com, being a Canadian, I love them because they're a Vancouver-based company. They have the ability to help you create landing pages, and it's great service. Both those services I use, and they're both great. Last but not least, if you don't have a website, just go to GoDaddy. Love GoDaddy. You can set up a WordPress site, create a theme. You can start leveraging some of that technology to create landing pages. Now, what I am trying to say here today is this is very high level. I'm not going into the cornflakes on this stuff. It's just meant to educate and just at least bring this stuff to your attention. So that's the foundation. That sets everything up. The second thing that you need to take a look at is a form of email marketing software. So when someone goes to my landing page and they take me up on my offer, I have to capture, at the bare bones minimum, I've got to capture their email address. And then on top of that, what I want to do is, if I can, I'll capture their name and I'll capture their phone number and other relevant information. But at bare bones minimum, you want to capture that. So that's what email marketing software does. I'll get into a couple of different email marketing software solutions that you can use in a couple of seconds here. And then the last thing I say here is have an offer. So put something out there that's going to entice people to give you their name and their email. Everyone in an industry, whatever industry you're in, you have something that you can offer clients, and it's great because Lead Pages calls this, what they call it is a lead magnet, and it's something that you can put forward to these people. So I'll get into it in a sec here. Setting up an email marketing system, it's not that tough. What you do is you go to a service, something like Aweber or MailChimp, and then what you do is you create something of value to give away, and you tie it in with your list and everything like that. So what I've done is I've created one that's called the 25 must-have sales and marketing tips. And that email or that ebook has got me thousands of email subscribers, and literally it only took me an hour to put together. So it's something that I give away. If anyone here wants it, once again, reach out to me, chris@salestipaday.com, and I'll send you this. And I've got another 10 must-have tips that I followed up with it. But just ask me for it, and I'll send you this ebook, so you guys can see an example of it. And literally, that's all you do. You just set up an email marketing system, and I make it sound so simple. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not that tough. And then create something of value to give away. And so one of the things that I look at is if you're going to be leveraging a website, here's a way that you guys can generate more sales leads and sales out of that website. So one of the things that I look at is, let's say your website has 1,000 visitors per month, and your email sign up is 3%. And the product uptake is 6%. Within an 18-month period, you're going to have 540 people on your email list. And typically, you're going to see that 6% uptake against that email list. In month 18, you're generating potentially 32 inquiries, product buys, requests for service, so on and so forth, whatever it is that you're doing. When you think about it today, if you don't have an email sign up on your website, then long story short is you are missing out on some tremendous opportunities to generate sales leads for yourself. And just as a note here, I get between 6 and 10% signups on anything that's on my website. So I'm way above the industry average, which I'm quite proud of, but that generates inquiries and sales leads and so on and so forth for me as well. The resources, I just talked about these a couple of seconds ago here. One of the ones that you can use is Aweber. Another one is MailChimp. Other ones out there are like iContact, Infusionsoft, Office Autopilot, so on and so forth. If you're just starting out, these two work very well. The differences that I find, I use both. Um, Aweber is their templates or their emails don't look, I mean, they're okay, but they don't look phenomenal or anything like that. Not overly happy with that sort of stuff. MailChimp makes it far easier to create nice looking emails with kind of drop and drag and do certain things. So that's the flexibility. The only downside to, say, a MailChimp and the upside to Aweber is that you may have different lists depending on what you're trying to get people to do. So if you have 10 different landing pages with 10 different offers, so on and so forth, you may have different lists that you're sending it to, or that you're collecting emails from. In Aweber, if you want to send a blanket email out to everyone, you've got that option where you just select all and send. In MailChimp, you have to go through and create a new email for each list. You can replicate it, set it up. It's just a little more time consuming. There's a couple of differences. Both are phenomenal. Aweber is, it's a pay for service right out the gate. MailChimp, you can actually get a free account with up to, I believe it's 2,000 emails on it, so you can use it for free. So there you go. There's a couple of resources that I think you could leverage and use quite well on this one. The next one, live chat, putting live chat on your site. It's funny because about a month ago, I got someone who said that this is the most aggravating thing, but I'm going to show you something. And yes, it may be aggravating, but the main thing is that this helps drive sales leads for people. So I had mentioned that I created a live chat widget, which is the thing on the right-hand side here with a gentleman called John Leishman. John's down by that yellow car there. He runs a company called Geeks on the Way. And the reason we created a live chat widget is because we found the stuff in the marketplace didn't do what we needed it to do. And what I say by that, I get to it in a couple of minutes here, is that typically live chat widgets on a website will just sit there and it says, if you have any questions, click here. What we find, if you proactively pop that widget up and start asking people questions, you dramatically increase the amount of chats that you could get going with potential clients that are hitting your website. So that's, there's an example of a live chat widget down on the right-hand side here. So once again, when I went into the first part of the presentation, I gave some stats. So 60% of people go online to find out about a product or service. So they're going online to find out about your product, your service. 60% of people. Once again, I still think that is low. I think it's actually higher than that nowadays. And the other thing too is, one thing you need to know is most people are educating themselves on the internet and any sources that they can find, and they're engaging with salespeople far later in the sales cycle, which means, really, if you're not adding a live chat widget to your website and not engaging with these people while they're doing this stuff, you're becoming almost a commoditized product for them to go through and educate themselves in advance. So, you have an opportunity to engage with people who are looking for something and need to be asking questions on it. So once again, there, 83% need help during their investigation online, 71% expect the immediate assistance online, 48% leave without ever coming back if you do not help them. So that, literally, if you get 1,000 visitors to your website, 480 are going to leave that you'll never see again because you didn't engage with them. Tremendous opportunity there. So, long story short, what I do is I say, get a live chat widget on your website and ask questions. Like, say, hey, can I help you? Is there anything you're looking for? Blah, 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 so on and so forth. Just be proactive with people. You'll see a dramatic increase in the amount of sales leads that you can actually generate through to yourself. So once again, my live chat software that we built, the reason we built it is because most of the live chat softwares out there have either won't proactively pop up and ask a question, or they'll do it once, but they won't allow you to do it more than once. So what we found is that if you do it 3 times, so literally within 5 to 15 seconds after someone hits a website, we pop this up and ask them a question. People could close it down and don't have to worry about it. Then usually we wait about a minute to about a minute and a half. If they're still there, we say, hey, look, is there anything we can help you out? And then the last one is usually about 2 minutes, 2.5, 3 minutes in. What we found is the longer someone's on a website, obviously they're doing more investigating. At that third time, when typically we're going to be engaging with the vast majority of people. And then once we're engaging and doing stuff with them, we can capture a name, an email, anything that these people are and then start to market with them, get their phone number, give them a call, set up a meeting, so on and so forth. Free leads, that's the way I look at it. Well, it shouldn't be say free because there's a cost to the software, obviously, but very low cost to generating sales leads for your business. And by the way, so once again, when I go back and I say, like, you can create a landing page, you can create your own website, you can do whatever, you can put this sort of stuff on there as well. So I always tell people, take a test. If you are looking at putting a live chat on your website, you know what? Go by your direct competitors' websites, and in your geographical area or whatever you look after, and see if they have live chat on their websites or if they're engaging with website visitors. You know what? If sorry, I got to go back here. If they are not, then you know what? You've got a huge opportunity to get to people and engage with them first. And typically, when people are engaging with prospects first, they're the ones that are controlling the sales cycle, which means you're going to have a higher opportunity of generating, providing value and generating a sale for that. So we've kind of gone through the first three steps: foundation, creating a website or having a landing page. Secondly is having an email marketing system like eWeber, MailChimp, and an offer. And by the way, an offer could be an ebook, or it could be X% off a certain thing, or a free consultation. So don't stick to just strictly ebooks. Third is start engaging with your website traffic and generate some sales leads. And by the way, with live chat, I'll show you an example here of the impact of revenue on a couple of different organizations. The next step here is, you've got all this stuff. You need to drive the right qualified people to your website to engage with. So start looking at step 4 is advertising. This is short here. I'm not going to get into huge details, but you know what? You can leverage stuff online, and I'm just strictly looking online here. Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, or Google AdWords. And offline, you can do a bunch of different things as well. This is just a small subset. In the next webinar I'm doing right after this, I'll show you guys a whole bunch of different places where you post things up and try to drive traffic through on online, offline as well. The other thing too is if you actually are using AdWords, I'm going to show you how leveraging the live chat can actually reduce your AdWords cost dramatically. Just really quickly here, I'm in Calgary. The term Calgary furnace repair on Google AdWords, and if you know what AdWords are, it's when you go into Google and you search something up like Calgary furnace repair, top 3 are ads, and then down the right-hand side there's ads as well. That's Google AdWords in action. That cost for Calgary furnace repair on a click, if you just click on that, it's on average $18 per click. That's not per lead, that's per click. That doesn't even mean that people are converting. Let's just say you have a conversion rate of 3%. When I say conversion rate, I mean this is people that are actually either contacting you, filling out a form, doing something that you've asked them to do. Doesn't even mean that you've actually closed them as a sale, but let's just say they're converting at 3% into they've contacted us or they've done something. Then that means what you're actually looking at is you're spending about $594 on average for a sales lead to come in the door. Now, if you add live chat to your website and you get a 5 times greater multiplier because you're engaging with people, then really what this means is you've taken your cost per lead and you've reduced it down to $120. So I mean, literally, you've taken 80% of the cost out of doing AdWords, or increasing your effectiveness of AdWords. And in fact, we've seen guys where it's far higher than that because the conversion rate off live chat, once they've driven them there from AdWords, is higher and much more significant. Now, there's the first 4 steps. Last step here, social media. And it's funny because some people look at social media in certain ways, such as I'm at a restaurant eating breakfast or whatever it is. That's not the way I use social media. I'm going to show you how I use social media, my tips and tricks here. So I've got my landing page here, which is how to stop cold calling now. And what you see at the top are a couple of tweets that I send out to try to entice people to come through to this webinar and sign up for this webinar. And so the tweet that I send out here is, why are you cold calling? Get more sales leads with this proven process. And then what I do is I have a short link that drives people through to my landing page here when they click on it. So it's at dld.bz / whatever it is there. And then the other thing I've got here is I use hashtags to group what I'm talking about. So in this case is, success for people, lead generation, and sales. Then the other one here, same thing. You see how you get up to 25 times more sales leads compared to cold calling. And then literally I put it in there as marketing. So I'm trying to drive people through. So I send these out. I use a service called Social Oomph, which you can see kind of at the top underneath my name or beside my picture up there, which allows me to schedule these out um, at different intervals. So I can set it up once and keep scheduling it out on a regular basis so I don't have to jump on Hootsuite and keep doing that stuff. So it saves me a ton of time. Pushes people through to my landing page, and then down there, call to action, click here to claim your spot. So that's how I generate sales leads using social media. The last step here, I said was not really a step, it's a must-have. Follow up. And you should be following up with anybody and everybody that has come into your sales funnel. The thing is, not everyone is going to be set to buy right now or today. You may have to nurture these people along, give them information, bring them along. I mean, I think the average amount of contacts you have to do with a person to generate a sale is 7 or 8 or something like that. So don't expect to go in for a kill right on the first contact with people. You do have to follow up. As I say, some people, they may close right away. Other people, it might be months from now, depending on what's going on. So just to have a follow-up process. My suggestions for a follow-up process is once you've got their name and email, then send them out a monthly email. And for example, you can send people emails with offers or products, services, anything that you've got. The other thing you can do is hold weekly, monthly webinars, send information out to people, make sure they're educational in nature. I'll get into that in a couple of minutes here. Or what you do is you create ebooks, and you can send ebooks out to people. And just a real quick high level how I create an ebook is I create so many videos, I interview so many authors, I do a whole bunch of different things. I literally take those snippets and I put them into an ebook with a link through to a video to see how to do things or learn things. So that's a secret as to how to create some ebooks, and I spend almost no time having to create this sort of stuff. So there you go. There's my 3 suggestions. I'm going to show you guys some use case examples on this. Geeks on the way. So my buddy John Leishman there, he was using AdWords, and what he found was his AdWords effectiveness wasn't working nearly as much over about a 1 to 2 year period. So what we did was we put live chat on his website to see what would happen and see what would get going on for him. And in this case, that live chat has 10 or 12 to 15% of the people that hit his website are engaging and trying to find out about certain things that his company can provide. And literally, because we're engaging with people that are in buy mode, what it's done is it's actually increased his revenue 15 to 20% on a monthly basis. So you think about it, he's generating 15 to 20% more revenue for his company just by putting this one piece of software on his website. And he actually no longer uses AdWords because he just didn't find it was effective enough. So he's leveraging this to generate sales for him. In this case, if we look at that Baylor University example that I had up front, which was 0.3% of people on a cold calling are successful in creating a meeting. In this case, John is getting, and I shouldn't say 40 leads for every 341 connections, whereas the other one was 1 lead for every 333 connections. So in this case, this is like 40 times more effective than cold calling. If you were to take a look at it and compare apples to apples. The other thing that John had as an added benefit here is the fact that he has a staff that already works for him, and they're the ones that are answering the live chat. So he's already got a sunk cost, and literally he's adding 15 to 20% additional revenue to his company at no additional cost to him. So he's extremely happy with those sort of results. I have a roofer in Ottawa. I'm not going to give his name out because these results are fantastic as well. He literally, for every 3 chats, he generates 2 sales leads. And funny thing about him is that he is a specific type of roofer. and he was getting leads for stuff that he doesn't do. And he was just kind of discounting them and not doing that. I said, no, 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 no. Here's what you do. If you're generating a lead that's specific for stuff that you don't do, take that lead, find a partner, and basically give them the lead for either a portion of the sale or sell it to them at a certain amount. So, he can sell these leads for like $30, $50. Um, he's generating far more sales leads, and generating an additional revenue stream for him as well. So it's tremendous. So, in this case, the uptake, like I say, it's insane. He's getting about 220 times more than the kind of the average that we see in the marketplace right now. So I don't want everyone to think it's rose-colored glasses here. There are cases where this doesn't work, and first of all, not all leads are qualified. Some are bad. Some are just kind of tire kickers asking ridiculous questions. And the big case, or the big case example on this one is actually my website, Sales Tip a Day. I threw live chat up just to see what would be going on my website, and what I found is that I would get people contacting me going, I'm looking for a sales tip. And it's like, okay, so my website's called Sales Tip a Day, and literally I post up a sales tip every single day. Don't know what you're missing there. But that's sometimes some of the bad that you get with this as well. So if you're going to implement a process like this, where you're say using a live chat, doing a bunch of different things and driving people to your website, do understand you're going to have to weed through some of this stuff, and some of the things are just not qualified and are, for lack of a better word, pretty crappy. So I'm going to show you guys a process really quick just to tie it all together. So first things first, using social media or paid for ads to drive people to your website. So the top one there is a Facebook ad that I've got in stream that drives people through. The second one down is a LinkedIn ad that pushes people through to a landing page. And the last one is tweets that I'm using from social media. Now I use Google Plus, I use multiple LinkedIn, blah, 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 a whole bunch of different places to generate these kind of sales leads as well, or drive this traction. So I don't just use these three. I use multiple things as well. Then what happens is I drive them through to that landing page. So we saw this landing page earlier, right? Strong headline up front. There's a video that people can play to understand what's more about it. I got arrows pointing to this saying, yes, I'll give it a try. I've got a live chat widget sitting up there. So, long story short, I got my call to action. When someone clicks on that, it goes onto my email list, allows me to follow up with them. And also, once again, I'm engaging with people if they have questions that they want to find out on my website as well. So there you go. That's the process. It's pretty darn simple. To tell you the truth, if I were to do this just based on how it is right here, you know what, that would probably take me less than an hour to pull all this together. I'll bet you maybe half an hour to an hour to pull it all together for myself. One of the tips I want you to do, though, if you are using advertising, is take a look at Facebook ads. If you're using LinkedIn ads, you can check on that, and also AdWords, depending on what you're doing. I find my Facebook ads drive far more traffic to my website at a lot less than say my LinkedIn ads or any Google AdWords. LinkedIn ads can be one of the things that's nice about it is it's very specifically targeted right to an individual who plays within the demographic and also in the space that you want to be in, but it's costing you a minimum $2 per click just to get that person there. My Facebook ads are at like 26 cents per click, so I can generate a lot of traffic to my website based on that. So just make sure you look at that. One of the things I want to offer, and I'm going to throw this out after the fact too, is that if you do want to try the live chat, if you have a website, you can connect with me at salestipaday.com/live-chat-offer, or just reach out to me, Chris at salestipaday.com, and I'll get you hooked up with a 30-day trial. I have expats, Canadians and Americans that live down in Mexico that can actually engage with your website traffic if you don't have the time to do it, and we'll do that free for 30 days. If you want to do it yourself, same thing. We'll let you use the software free for 30 days to give it a shot and give it a try. There you go. That's how you contact me. So feel free to reach out to me. Once again, you can also call me 403-630-1243.